Hi Flash Tube, it's Diane. I thought I'd do a quick update video. I have my earbuds in so you can pick up the mic easier. I don't know, because I do talk soft. I know that. But today is January 31st, 2021, last day of the month. And yesterday we celebrated another child's birthday. So far this year we've had 4 birthdays. And we have one coming up this next week. My middle daughter will be 18. Just mind-blowing. And then we'll have a week after hers, we'll have another son have a birthday. So 2 birthdays in February and 1 in March. So then 7 of our children will have birthdays done. I'll try to fiddle with the light a little bit here. But it is what it is. And so I was doing some organizing. Found 2 whips that I did not show in the whip parade. I want to show them. And if I can find pictures for them. Sleeping Princess, Mirabilia. This is for my middle daughter. Some year when I get it done. My mom did stitch a Mirabilia for each of my girls. So they do already have a Mirabilia. And for my middle daughter, she stitched Frog Princess. And here's where it's at. This is 32 count mushroom because I wanted the colors and the pattern just to sing. So I was working on those mattresses, and any open spots there in this pink one, those are beads. But yeah, you start cleaning an area and lo and behold, what do you find? For my oldest daughter, this over here, I am stitching Cassiopeia on 32 count Gothic by Picture This Plus. And here is where she is at. I have these silver lines just to help me kind of make sure I got everything lined up, because this is the background flower. I think it's like the 4th time I've stitched that thing. This thing right here. I kept getting off on my count. By having these lines here just kind of large grid the pattern, it helps me. So I need to get back to that one. And for my oldest daughter, my mom stitched Sabrina by Mirabilia. And for my youngest daughter, I showed Rose Celebration that I am stitching, and my mom stitched Roses of Provence for my youngest daughter. So they're up on their walls. But I haven't, kind of lost my stitchy bug a little bit. Some days you just have like that. And so I've been doing a little more sewing. But I have been doing some stitching. These 2. The one that called to me, I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one. Where did I put it? Could be in that stack. Yeah. Here's Anne Morison. I did get more done on her. 40 count Havana by Weeks. And I'm using mostly the 100.3 silks. The colors that that Stitchville did not have in the 103, I'm just using the Avera Soie colors. And here's where I'm at. Oh, that's turning out. I was so worried that this lighter goldish shade, but it does come out in person and on camera. So it's definitely a different combination of colors than others. And no, I'm not disappointed in the fabric I chose. I will keep working on her. And so I got to that point, so now I need to look. I didn't quite finish all the berries in January, so I have to figure out what part someone has gone through in the group and divided up the sampler so within a year's time you could stitch the whole thing. I did not stitch her in December, so I made sure to get December's done. December's part is done, and January's is almost done. Just those berries is all I have to do. So then I need to look at the February portion. December 5th, if you're done by December 5th, 2021, you are entered into a drawing for an actual antique sampler from Nicola. That's my goal. And December 5th is my husband's birthday, so it's easy to remember in that respect. This one? No. Well, what I did do is I went through all my, well, I did my active ones, and I put these little tags on. I got mine at Office Depot. You have to go toward the cashier. There it is. The cashier portion, which the cashier, I looked down the tags, I looked down the labels, I looked down the some other thing, and they're like, oh yeah, they're over there by the cash register. I don't own a business. Why would I ever go by the cash register? But I found them, and they were reasonably priced. They were like $50 for $10, but then they had a special deal that day, and so I got them even less than that. With the needle too. Lila Studios. I was working on that first box because I had that first long border done, and I finished that first box. So I had this already done when I pulled this out. So now I've added that first box, and I just think it's beautiful. It looks even better on video, to be honest. I loved the houses. I loved like this portion here was so quick and fast to stitch and a lot of fun. The mermaid was a lot of fun too. And I'm not sure what kind of fish that is, if that's supposed to be a dolphin, that the light's glimmering off the back. I don't know. But there's like little starfish that I didn't realize, and just little details in here. So if I had some extra of this color, so I just started on the border for this one. This is on 40 count flax, or natural. I'm sorry, 40 count natural linen. And it is just, the colors are singing on this fabric. I'm using the called for colors, 1 strand over 2 threads. And on Morison, I'm just using the silk as it comes off the spool, or 1 strand if it's the Avera Soie. So I stitched on those, and then I pulled this one out because it was calling to me. And this is Rose Quaker. I have a picture. I have 2 projects in this bag. So the Rose Quaker by, here, right here, Stickideen von der Wiehenburg. And you should look at their website. They are making a number of their patterns available via PDF because of all the COVID stuff. I don't know if all of them, and this one I don't know, but the Autumn Quaker, which I also have in this bag and have not stitched on, I know that one was available via PDF. So if you're looking for it and can't find it, that is a possible place. It calls for DMC, and that's what I'm doing. I'm using 1 strand of DMC over 2 threads. Okay, sorry. This is on 40 count. This is flax. Yeah, this is flax. And these are the called for DMC colors. I have to remove this guy because I'm off a whole row, and yes, it does affect the other stuff. This guy I added, and it's just really pretty. It contrasts to how these colors work together is amazing. I understand why they say the variegated wouldn't give you the same effect. I see that now that I'm stitching the pattern. Although I do see solid silks looking good on this, or like a monochromatic, everything stitched in the same color. That would look amazing with this piece. So I had this motif done, this motif, and I finished the Z. I had half of that done. I was working on the H when I realized that this, I couldn't count, and Brenda, from Brenda and the Serial Starter, she was talking about using landmarks when she stitches, meaning when I'm stitching this motif, I'm counting from this motif and this motif, and I was doing that from this motif, and it wasn't, these 3 were not working, and I'm like, well, these 2 are exactly correct. And I checked this, no, it's fine, no, it's fine. And then the next day I came back, and sure enough, I had this whole motif up or down a row, which messed up this one, which would mess up this one. So I have to remove it, and it's a small motif, and it's DMC. I'm good. But I know that this one's fine, and this one's fine, not fine, fine. So I'm restitching the H. So far, the H is working. And I did have to switch my needle, though, because the needle I had in here was not going through the fabric very well, so I switched my needle. So if you run into that you seem to be struggling with your needle and your fabric, I encourage you to try a different needle. It doesn't necessarily need to be a different size, because sometimes there's a little tarnishing on our needle you can't see with the naked eye. But I encourage you to do that. And this one, or at least this bag, which I made for myself, will be out because when Jessie Marie called the whip go for February, which I didn't finish the whip go for January, those two particular pieces were not calling to me, but my whip go goals are for the entire year, so I'm good, except free space. I gave myself a free space. The Mirabilia for 10 days, I only did one day on a Mirabilia. It just wasn't calling to me. And then finishing baskets, I did one or two motifs on the basket pattern by Rosewood Manor, but it's not finished. But by the end of the year, I see that being finished. And the 10 days on the Mira. This is in my February under number, my chart's right there, so that's why I'm looking. Under number 20 is the number that Jessie Marie called. 2 motifs. And I'm not counting the big pink one because I had that done before February started. But I will count like the next motif, which is pretty large. Or I'll pull out the Quaker, the Autumn Quaker. So those are my Quakers. So 2 motifs between those 2 patterns, and then I'll finish my goal for that block. The other one she called was number 4. And that is the Saltboxes by Plum Street. I have all 4 seasons, and my goal for that is to have 1 set finished, meaning this is the spring, so having these 2 finished is my goal, and I really think that's very plausible. I am stitching this on 40 count white, and I started it last night. I started the first one last night. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I have them stitched, I'm going to tea dye them real quick. And if it would ruin it, I'll just stitch it again. But my goal is to have one of the sets finished. So this is the spring set. I really love this house. And so that's when I started. I'm not necessarily using the called for colors. I am using all over dyes, but not necessarily the called for colors. And I don't think that between the 4 different seasons, all of the colors are the same. No, they're not. So this one's the winter. I thought of doing this one. I like that big house. But again, I live in Minnesota. I'm tired of winter. Summer and autumn. So my goal for WhipGo is to have one of these sets of 2 done. And, oh, I should point out, on these, this is made to look like a Polaroid picture. This white is all stitched. I am not stitching all that white. I am wondering if I should put a border of some color, but of course the white will blend right into my fabric, so that wouldn't work. So I haven't quite thought about, I haven't decided, I should say. But even my overdyes that I chose, which are a mixture of Gentle Arts, let's see, Classic Color Works, Weeks, and I think I have a Carries in here. No, I have a Fiberlicious in here, this sage color, which is just gorgeous. But where's my other 2 colors? There is one DMC called for, but I've chosen to use a Gentle Arts instead. So I will, when I'm done with them, I'll post my color conversion when I share it. If anybody wants it, it's up to you. But that is my goal for February WhipGo, is to have 1 set done. And they're not that large. And I can see myself doing them. So sewing, I've been working my middle daughter's quilt, and here is one of her blocks. Do I have the pattern? I do have the pattern right here. It is this one, Arcadia Avenue. And so this block is right here. It's foundation paper piece. It's actually block number 7. Because the original quilt is 3 blocks by 4 blocks, it's not a queen size, and this is going to be a queen size quilt. So we have to pick 4 to do duplicate blocks. So this is one that she has chosen to be a duplicate block, and it was actually a fun block to make because you make each of these wedges and then you sew them together. Now my center isn't 100% lined up, but you know, and this is just a little bit off, but here it matches up, and here and here. So when you quilt this, you're not going to see that, so I'm leaving it. So these are solid colors, but the background has a little texture on texture, tone on tone, with the dark, the medium, and then the light right here in the center also. And yes, I'm the queen of uncut threads, and you could tell that this one I had to pick out, so that's what those little bits are. And I'll go over it. I just go over it. I have a lint mitt, and I go over it really carefully before I take it into the long armor. And then I also assembled this one, but this one, the center doesn't line up, and it's very obvious. So I'm going to just take out that one seam and then try and line it up a little better. This one, she did not choose to duplicate. I have 6 of these blocks assembled, but not assembled in this format, but the pieces are put together. So this is not one that she chose. She chose 2 out of the 6 I have done, and then she's going to choose 2 out of the 6 I still have to do. This is not one that she duplicated, and this wasn't a hard one by any means, but it is very dramatic. Which ones do I have done? This one should not be number 1 in this book because it's a pain in the keister. Especially if you haven't foundation paper pieced in one, you're like, well, I better start with block 1. No, they should have had you start with this block. So I've done that one, that one. This is the one that she wants me to duplicate. So 1, 2, 3, what did I just show you? I showed you this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is the other one I did. So I need to do these other 6, and I haven't cut out the pieces for them yet. Or I have for a couple of them, but not all of them, type of thing. So this is the one that she's going to have, except she'll have 4 blocks by 4 blocks. So then it'll be queen size, because these are like 18.5 inches when they're unfinished. So 18 inches finished in the quilt. So yeah, I just need to redo that one seam on there. Otherwise, it's working really well. My only haul is I had some of my books coil bound at Office Depot. So if you bring them in, just bring them in all printed in order that you want, and just say you want a clear cover, coil binding, black. This just gives it more stability to have that black cover on it. And this one has the first 3 Liz Matthews. So when she puts out the next 3, then I'll have to get those bound together. Because I put a little just piece of colored paper in between, so I knew, okay, that's where pattern number 1 stops. This quilt, I found a new quilt shop, at least new to Me Quilt Shop. It's not that far away, and it's so fun. But when I got there at 2 and they closed at 3 or 2:15, so I didn't get a shop too long, but I'm definitely going back. It's called Millie Peas. It's in Anoka, Minnesota, and this pattern they had, and I've had this on my wish list for a while. I don't remember how big these blocks are. These blocks actually, if I'm reading this right, like this one, if you did just the otters here, that would be a 24 by 24 inch pillow. That's not bad. So this whole quilt size. So this is the large quilt, and it's 82 by 82. So that's cute. I don't like this one, the narwhal. Something looks off on it. But I love this owl. I'm sorry, it's not out of the packaging. I love this owl, the otters, the deer, foxes, musk ox, the polar bear, of course, and the walrus. I love the walrus. And this little seal. So, yeah, and they show here on the back that if you did one, that's a pillow, and here's a smaller quilt. So essentially, you can mix and match these. She has another, this is called North Stars. She has one called Woodlands, which I love. She has an ocean one. She has a tropical birds. So yeah, I'm going to be adding to my collection. And these are not foundation paper pieced. These are pieced. And I'm thinking I could use scraps. I mean, if I just get one background color, like a gray, I can just use scraps for most of the other pieces. And I have plenty of scraps. I've been trying to figure out what scrap quilt I should tackle. So I did that. The quilt behind me is the one I did for my husband, and since he doesn't, he complains about being cold, and I'm sitting there thinking, you have this quilt. We don't have it out all the time because our dogs would lay on it. They wouldn't chew on it, but they would lay on it. And oh my gosh, when we bought our dogs, they were supposed to not shed. I vacuumed, we're in my room right now. I vacuumed this yesterday, maybe the day before. I had to empty the vacuum twice from the dog hair, and the dogs are not allowed in this room. It's just, you know, what gets on your socks and you carry. But it's from this book, Extraordinary Log Cabin Quilts by Judy Martin. And this one, I believe, is the Minnesota one. Let me double check. I believe it's the Minnesota one. Okay, I was looking at making another one. That's why I tagged that one. So sorry. Thought that was the right one. But yeah, I mean, here's High Country Log Cabin, Lakeshore Log Cabin. She is very, very clear on her techniques. Really, these are the ones that she has in here. And these are just one layout. I mean, really, you make the blocks and make whatever layout you want. So that's the Aspen. Is that the one I made? It's the Aspen. Is that the one I made? I have to look. No, this is the one I made. The Minnesota. Except mine has a different layout than this one. Of course, this one's probably the queen size, and that one's not the queen size. But it's a good book. And her directions are very clear. Lots of little pieces. Label, label, label. I use zippy bags as I was cutting and labeled them because you have the light, the medium, and then the darks. And they're all different sizes. Yeah. Label, label, label as you go. And then you can make this quilt. When I went to Millie P's, I picked up some fabric to make bags because when I go to a new quilt shop, that's what I usually do. And so I made this bag. I added my tag. There's nothing in here right now, but I added a tag. So I'm ready to put something in because on my whip parade, you saw that I have a lot of Ziplocs. I'm trying to eventually phase out of those. So there's two, and the lining on those is just a brown. And then there's this one, which kind of ombre effect. I made sure to have the dark at the bottom. And then this one, which has a project in here. I put, I think, Friendship Sampler in here. So that needs to go on the wall there. And then this one. And this has the Gratitude, which I haven't started yet either. And this guy, I picked up this fabric in Rapid City. What I didn't notice until I was looking at it and working with it, there are little bunnies right here. Did not notice that. I'm trying to see if there's other animals on here. The bunnies are different sizes. Oh, that's cute. So they have the bunnies going this way, and then up here it's like they shrunk and then flipped, reversed the pattern back and forth, and this is just a tone-on-tone snowflake, excuse me. And the inside of that one is just, I pulled from my stash for the insides. And Plum. So those don't have projects in them yet. It won't take me long to fill them up. So, yeah, that's all I have. The other stash I have or haul, my fibers of the month from 3 Owl Threads. I get Classic Colorworks, that nest egg, and from Fiberlicious, their threads. I get the cottons from Fiberlicious. And so that's all I have right now. But today, again, is January 31st. We're coming up on Valentine's Day in 2 weeks or week and a half. Well, no, 2 weeks. And Valentine's Day 2019 is the day that we found out that my daughter was cancer-free. So it'll be 2 years. She had a recheck this last week with her doctor, and everything's good. She's going to have a scan this next Friday, because you have periodic scans after cancer, and I think it's a CT with contrast. So I don't have to drive her, but nothing's anticipated. Of course, nothing was anticipated at the beginning, but yeah, everything's good. And so many of you reached out during that time and encouraged me and encouraged her, and I want to thank you for that again. You may not think that was a big deal, but it was huge for me. With that, I am going to do a bag giveaway again, and I'm going to give away one of these bags. I made 2, so I keep one, and I'll give one away. The inside on this one is the same as the accent. It's just the snowflakes, white on white. When I originally cut my bags, they're 16 by 13, but then sewing and trimming and stuff, they always get a little smaller. It is the same size as this bag here that I have my Rose Quaker and my Autumn Quaker in it. So it has 2 large patterns, 2 chunks of fabric, and 2 sets of floss, and it all fits. I don't use Q-snap, so I don't know what size Q-snap or anything along that line, but just supply wise, it works really, really well. And I'll throw a pair of scissors in there, you know, that type of thing. They're all cotton, 100% cotton, and so I have 2 of these. Oops, sorry, queen of loose threads. The inside of these is just a solid purple that I had in my stash. They're fully lined. So I have 2 of those and, sorry, 1 of these. You may enter for all 3 bags. You may be eligible to win one of the 3 bags, but you can only win 1. And do not use any of the troll words: giveaway, prize, win, gift is questionable, contest, you know, anything along that line that you think somebody would think that there was something going on. Don't use those words or I'll delete your comment. You need to comment on this video only, and I am going to have the contest go till March 14th, 2021. March 14th is my wedding anniversary, number 29. And next year's number 30, which is hard to believe. It's just hard to believe. And I don't know what we're going to do. We usually go to like a bed and breakfast weekend getaway, but this year I doubt that's going to happen. Anyway, next year's 30, but this year it's 29. So I will close the giveaway drawing on March 14th, so you have over a month, because I know if you're about like me, your watch later list is, yeah, in the triple digits. Although, to be honest, I get a little anxious if it gets too big. These are 100% cotton. They do have interfacing in them. It's all enclosed. It's this nylon zipper, or I think it's nylon zipper. I think that's what they call them. And I'm not going to put a tag on there because I know not everybody likes that, so you can decide to do that yourself. I will ship anywhere in the world. But do realize I will probably fold this to fit in the envelope. If that bothers you, you open it up and you steam iron it, you're good to go. But again, it's a project bag. Okay, it's a project bag. There are other things to worry about. So, if you are interested in this giveaway, I would like you to comment using the word tree if you're interested in this bag. And again, you can enter for either, but you can only win one. If you're interested in this bag, use the word tree. If you're interested in this bag, use the word plum, P-L-U-M. So T-R-E-E for the red and white, or plum for this one. And the red and white would be kind of cool for a red and white sampler, even if it wasn't wintry. But anyway, so please put those in your comment. You're going to answer a question. With Valentine's Day, it's usually here in the States, you know, flowers and chocolates and all that. We've never really celebrated Valentine's Day. It's not a big deal in our house because our anniversary is March 14th, because I chose that date. Thinking February 14th will be kind of stuck in his head. He would never forget. It was either the 14th or the 21st, and my birthday is July 21st, so he was darned if he did, darned if he didn't. Anyway, but with that in mind, chocolate is if you see in the stores here in the States, you know that chocolate is everywhere. What is your favorite chocolate? Do you like, so your question is, do you like milk chocolate or dark chocolate? If you are allergic to chocolate or don't like chocolate, that is a valid response. You could say, I'm allergic to chocolate. Here's my favorite treat. I don't like chocolate. Here is my favorite treat instead. Perfectly valid comment. So, sum it all together. Deadline, March 14th, 2021. Giveaway will close. And as I did the last bag giveaway, I drew the number the day after. So I'll probably draw it on the 15th, which I believe is probably a Monday. You are eligible, or you can be eligible to win any of the bags. You need to say tree if you want the red and white one, plum, and there are 2 plum bags. Because out of a yard of fabric, I can do 3 with the main color from a yard and the accent a half yard. Then I can do 3 bags plus the one where I switch the colors, which is over here. Yeah, so I bought 1 yard of this color and half a yard of this color, and I was able to do 4 different bags. So that's just how I do it. And then I had some interfacing that just caused a headache. I'm not sure what it was. But anyway, that's not for you to worry about. March 14th, deadline. Comment tree or plum or both. That's perfectly fine. You need to answer the question, do you like milk chocolate or dark chocolate? I prefer dark chocolate. My favorite candy bar is Godiva dark chocolate raspberry bars. Oh, those are good. And of course, Barnes & Noble always has them sitting there by the cash register. Although I went to Barnes & Noble this last week, and I was at 2 registers because for kids under the certain age, they give a free birthday treat. So I had that coupon to pick up something for my son, whose birthday was yesterday. So I went to 2 different registers, and they had the Godiva chocolate displays, but neither one had the dark chocolate raspberry. So I got out of the store. without buying one. Because trust me, that always ends up in my bag. Or Kohl's, they have them there too. But answer that question. Or if you don't like chocolate, or maybe you're allergic to chocolate, valid response, just tell me, what do you like? Some people like, you know, candied fruit, or there's so many options. Or maybe you're out of the States and there's a treat that you like that I have never heard of. Please share. Please share the name, because I find that interesting. Those of you who do videos and you're not in the US, don't be afraid or any of that to share. You know, hey, this is common where I live. This is common where I live. I find that interesting. I really do. And if anybody tries to tear you down because you share that, just ignore them. Just ignore them. I couldn't believe I was watching Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and she was talking about people complaining because of her shame basket, or mocking basket. I understood what she meant. Oh my word, people. Anyway, they should not have done that to her. I love her videos. March 14th, this video only. You may not comment on any other videos about this giveaway. I love your comments. I always read them. I try and heart them or thumbs up them or whatever YouTube lets me do, because sometimes YouTube doesn't let me do stuff for whatever reason. But I hope that this finds you looking forward to spring here in the States, in the northern hemisphere. Maybe looking forward to autumn in the southern hemisphere, because I love autumn. Autumn is my favorite time of the year. I tell you, I'm glad that our winter here in Minnesota has been snowstorm, couple day break, snowstorm type of thing. It's been manageable. I'm glad for that, but I don't want snow anymore. I'm done with it. And we're heading into March and April, which are the snowiest years for Minnesota with regard to accumulation. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have. Sorry, I went totally blank there. I was trying to listen to what they're doing out there. But I will probably be back in mid-February with another update, and just make videos. If you make them, be part of the community, be positive in the community. It makes a huge, huge difference. And I've been watching Bridgerton, which is not for kids. So, suggestion, if you like that kind of genre on Netflix. I loved Lady Danbury. I wish there were more scenes with her. She is so good. But anyway, love to you all. Talk to you later. Bye.